Hi everyone, it's Stephanie back with another spinning video. Today I'm going to show you how to spin tailspin locks. Extremely long locks. Like this. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. These are from Teeswater and I dyed them several years ago, and I've used some in some Nuno felting projects, but for some reason today I was really just feeling like sitting at the wheel and doing some tail spinning, which I haven't done in years, you all. It has been a very long time since I've done any tail spinning, so I had to try a little bit of it first. So let me get you in here and show you how it's going so far. Make sure that I could tell you what I was doing. No, that's my, sorry, dogs are in the way again. If you can get in here and see, it is looking really nice. So let's get to it and let's tail spin. Now before we start, I want you to keep in mind that this is only the way that I tail spin. There is more than one way to do this, and this is just the way that I handle it. You might find a different way that works for you, and if you do, share it below so that we can all learn from it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to pick out some long locks. If you have shorter locks, there is a different way to lock spin them. You don't separate the individual locks like this if you have shorter locks, because the staple length just ends up being too short. For this method of tail spinning, what you're going to do is select long locks. Teeswater are great, and you're going to, at the top, okay, so you can tell this is the top of the lock because Teeswater locks get slightly skinnier as they go down. You see how that looks? Okay, so you're going to take the top here and you're just going to tease it open a little bit, okay? Put my arms down. So you're going to tease it open like this, because this is the part that is going to be the base of your yarn right here, okay? So you see how that's open? This is the part that's going to spin together to create what we typically think of as yarn, and this part is going to be hanging out, okay? So you're going to do that with a few different locks. Look at that one. It's my favorite color, I think. It goes from a nice turquoise up at the top to a blue to a purple at the end. I did some of these with pinks and reds too that turned out beautifully also. So I'm just teasing this one out, and I'm going to do about 4 or 5 of these, okay? Because you don't want to watch an entire video on tail spinning. It would take forever. This is a very slow spinning process. So if you find yourself having to slow down and really take your time, that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay, so now I've got a nice green one. Kind of like to call these my mermaid locks. I guess they look to me like mermaid hair a little bit. Okay, and let's pull out a few more. I'm just teasing them open. And if I were to sit down and just be spinning, I would have done all of this at once. I would open up all of the locks at once so that once I'm spinning I could just spin. But since I'm doing this to teach you all, I don't want to have a video that's, 5 hours long. So I'm just going to open up a few right now, and I wanted you all to know also that you need to do that. So this is my last one, and it's okay. You are going to have to pull them apart. It's going to be a little bit rough, and that's okay. You don't have to be really delicate. The only part you want to try to keep intact is this down here. See that? Okay, so I have several right here. I'll put the rest of my locks down, and let me adjust the camera so that you can see. Oh, you see my yarn here? I have been dyeing a lot of yarn, and that is all of the yarn that I dyed this past weekend. So if you want videos on dyeing, just let me know down below like you did with the weaving. And just so that you know, I do have lots of weaving videos planned to come on up in the next few weeks, okay? Now before we get started, let me talk you through the process a little bit. So this is what the yarn is going to look like. This is something you definitely want to use a wheel that has either a very large orifice or a hook, like my Spinolution Echo does. So it's going to look like this. It's real pretty. See, and here's a nice long lock. I've put some few shorter locks in there also. So you're going to want to use, it looks like that. It's pretty, isn't it? You're going to want to use a spinning wheel that has very low ratios. So remember my video on ratios and what they mean and how to use them. For this, I have my wheel set up back here. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to move this. I pulled off the drive band there. There we go. I have it set up on the largest ratio, which means I will get the fewest number of revolutions on my flyer here compared to my wheel, okay? And that means there will be less twist in this yarn, which is what I want. I do want some twist in here. After all, it has to hold together. But if I put too much twist, then all of the locks are going to just spin up into the yarn, and that's not what I want. I want them to be beautiful and loose and visible, okay? So let me go ahead and get this spun on here. So this is definitely something that you would want, you know, like my Echo, you can spin on that. This is definitely something that you would want a wheel that allows you to spin slowly and to have very low ratios and an orifice that these locks can fit through. Also, it's not entirely necessary, but I love the way that Spinolution has these pegs instead of hooks, because as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on in this yarn. And if it had hooks, then these locks would get stuck in the hooks, okay? So let's dive into it. As you'll see, I've already got some locks on here, okay? So what I do is I take the lock where I've already teased out the top, and I'm going to separate it a little bit. I'm going to kind of put my thumb through here, and I'm going to have one end join here on my yarn that's been spun, and then this other end I'm going to spread out this way. So this fuzzy part here is going to be the base of the yarn, okay? So I'm doing this just the way I would do any other join, joining, you know, fuzzy end to fuzzy end. So I'm making sure that I've got enough to join, and all I'm going to do is spin very slowly, working closely or close to the orifice. I'm going to let this spin just travel in here, and now it is combined. Now I'm going to let the spin continue on, and there we've got this lock joined in with the rest. And look, I'm pulling on it. It's not coming loose, okay? Some people will use, well, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Let's join another one, okay? So now I have this lock. I have a fuzzy end. I'm going to divide this lock in two, put my thumb in there and pull it loose. And I'm going to just join right here, okay? And you'll see I have to stop almost every single time. That's okay. This is not a fast spinning project. Okay, now it's joined. Here we go. I'm showing you how it's gonna spin around a little bit there. And now this one is joined, and you see it's not coming loose, okay? So I let the twist get a little bit too far on this end, so I'm going to just spread this out so that my next lock can join. Take my next lock, divide it in half, the fuzzy part, just the fuzzy part. Don't split it all the way down here to the lock, or you'll lose what's special about it, okay? And some people, when they open up this other end that's already attached to the yarn, will kind of come through here and push, almost like when you're beginning to spin and you've got the leader on and you push through a bit of yarn or a bit of fiber to hold on, you can do that too. But I just do a regular join. I just find that that's easier for me. It's what I'm most familiar with, and I've found that it makes it more secure, okay? So I'm letting that twist kind of build up there. I'm pinching it so it does not go back into this fuzzy end. I'm going to open that up a little more. Get my next lock. Open this up and do a join. So you could get into a rhythm with this and it wouldn't be horribly slow, but it is definitely more of a painstaking way to spin. So we've got everything there. It's joined. See? And this is a strong way to spin. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it really is. It holds together nicely. And look, these locks are, I mean, since they're already attached to the part that we are spinning, they're not going anywhere. Okay? So now here's the last lock that I have prepared. Again, I'm just going to join this the way I would any other regular join in spinning. Okay? Always spinning clockwise. I'm going to let that join in. Let it join. You see I've got the end here, and then I'm just going to keep the end out here. Let the twist travel up, over, and along here so that the lock is in here. And that is how I lock spin. Let me tell you a little bit about how other people do it so that you can decide for yourself. But first, let me show you what we've got here. We have got a beautiful textured yarn. It's just gorgeous, okay? And I'm really in love with this yarn. I think it's beautiful. So how do other people do this? Well, what they will do is either take some roving, or they'll take the parts of the fleece that they didn't leave as locks and they'll tease that out, and they will spin that as if they were just going to make a regular piece of yarn, okay? Then they'll get to where they want to insert a lock. They will split that fiber, insert the lock. The top will still be teased out the way mine was. They will insert that, and then they will let the twist travel on from the roving to the yarn. So that's how other people do it. You could also use core spinning to attach your locks that way. There's a whole host of different ways. Experiment and find out what works for you. This is the method that I like the best because I feel like, especially when the locks are dyed like this, I feel like this method preserves the color that has been created through the dyeing process. And I have quite a few left to go through, so I'll be doing this for quite a while. But that's why I like doing this way the best. The locks do end up being a little bit shorter than they would if I was using the roving method of spinning, but I happen to like it this way. What I'll do when I'm finished spinning this yarn is I will loosely or gently ply it with, I don't know if you can even see it, with this very, very thin camel and silk that I spun. And this is just what was left over. I went ahead and I had 8 ounces of it. I bought it when some girlfriends and I were in Tennessee for just kind of a weekend getaway. And so I splurged and bought 8 ounces of this roving. It was so soft, you all. I wish you could reach out and touch this. But I'm going to use what's left over here after plying what I had before. I'm going to use what's left over to ply this yarn. Now you wouldn't have to ply this. You could leave it as a single, but I always hate the idea of my yarn possibly falling apart after spinning it. And although it's really stable here, you can see it's not going anywhere, no matter how hard I yank on it. But because of the twist and because of spinning it clockwise, it might not be as balanced as I want it to be, and that's why I will probably ply it with this yarn, and I'm going to try to get this as close to the camera as I can so you can see what it will look like. I might end up actually dyeing this camel and silk blend. This is its natural color right now. That's the natural color, and I might end up dyeing it so that it blends just a little bit better. But you see how it will, let me wrap it around and do kind of a faux, see, it'll look a little bit like that. Let's see, here we go. So I think that'll be really pretty because the silk gives it the same type of sheen that these locks have, which I adore these locks. So that's it for, oh, here we go. Here's a nicely twisted spot, nicely faux plied spot. Let me know what you think. Should I dye this, this plying yarn, or should I leave it the way it is? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. So I hope this was helpful. I want to take a moment and thank all of you who watched my video on what to do with art yarn after you have spun it. All of your comments were they're wonderful, and they keep coming in. And I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you all. I love doing this. I love teaching. I love the fiber arts, obviously. And your all's comments, I feel like we're really creating a community here of people who just love this type of art, and it just makes me happy to read all of your comments. So again, I appreciate it. Well, until next time, I'm Stephanie, and enjoy your fiber arts. Bye-bye.